What's up and welcome to the video. So recently we talked about the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5. It's a round smartwatch. It looked fantastic. And in this video we're going to talk about a new watch on the block, this little round watch right here. This is the Google Pixel Watch. Now it's important to keep in mind that this is Google's first attempt at their own in-house wearable, and there are definitely some good things to take from this watch. So let's talk about it. Google Pixel Watch. And before we get started, to our friends at Google that sent us this watch to review, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Now let's talk about it. Let's start things off with what has to be my favorite aspect of the watch, and that's the way it looks and basically how it's designed. So this is a really nice looking watch. And one of the things I like the most about it is obviously it's round whenever you look at it. So it's got that classic timepiece look to it. It looks really nice, and some of the choices that Google made were really subtle, but at the same time really sharp. Like if you notice, there's only two buttons on the watch. There is a digital crown, which is nice and clicky. It actually makes a nice sound whenever you press it as well. And then there is one button that kind of sits a little flush right above that for your recent apps. Looks subtle, but at the same time, it looks really nice whenever you're looking at it head on. And I like Google's choice of materials here too, as far as the way it's built. So you have Gorilla Glass 5 up front, and then you have a stainless steel housing that's made out of 80% recycled stainless steel apparently. So that is really cool. And as far as display size goes up front whenever you're looking at it, the casing itself is 41 millimeters, but if you were to, let's say, turn on the flashlight or do something that will show you the type of bezels the watch has around it, there are some pretty sizable bezels that run all around the watch itself. So if you were to try to measure just the display itself, I think it's like just shy of 30 millimeters. So I love the build. I love the look and the feel. In my own personal opinion, the watch itself is a little on the smaller side. I still think a lot of people are going to get it and be super happy with its size. My own personal preference is typically more towards the bigger watches. And I gotta say, switching from something that is like an absolute behemoth of a watch like the Apple Watch Ultra to something a lot more sleek, a lot more elegant like the Google Pixel Watch was a little bit of a culture shock to me. But overall, I think there are a lot of good things going on here with the way this watch is designed and how it's built. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, this is Google's first take at their own branded smartwatch. And if you remember a few years back, Google actually acquired Fitbit. And I think we were all just kind of waiting to see what direction Google was going to take with that. And it's interesting because a lot of the health aspects of this watch, actually all of the health aspects of this watch, are essentially powered by Fitbit. So if you have owned a Fitbit in the past or you have a Fitbit account, the health aspects are actually going to be really familiar for you. So for me, for example, I've owned several Fitbit devices in the past before I started buying Apple Watches. If you've been a viewer on the channel for some time now, you probably know about all the comments I used to get about wearing two watches. One was an Apple Watch, one was a Fitbit. But yeah, I've had Fitbit devices in the past, and when you're actually going through and setting up the Pixel Watch, pairing it with your phone, it will prompt you to either create a Fitbit account if you don't have one, or if you do, to just sign in, and then this is going to replace whatever device you have at the time as your primary Fitbit device to track things like your steps, all of your workouts. And you can definitely see the integration, but at the same time, the distinct difference between Wear OS and the Fitbit features on here. So when you go to check out your apps, you'll see things like Fitbit Workout, you'll see things like Fitbit ECG. Even though those are all things that are built into the Pixel Watch, Google is still keeping it branded as Fitbit. And it's a little, I feel like it's a little confusing, but at the same time, I get Google's idea behind it because I think Google understood Fitbit has a lot of brand power, and they probably also have a lot of folks who are loyal to their brand. So keeping those features as opposed to rebranding them to like a Google ECG or a Pixel ECG makes sense, because you might want to attract some of the folks who like to buy Fitbit devices to come and buy this, because when you take a look at some of the sensors, when you take a look at some of the things it can track, like the fact that it's water resistant, you can tell that it is a smartwatch that's also trying to be a fitness tracker, and I think Google is definitely taking advantage of the Fitbit brand name. And like I mentioned, Wear OS is what's running on this watch, and everything feels super familiar. So in terms of gestures and how you essentially navigate through the watch, here's how it works. Whenever you are at your watch face, if you push the digital crown, it'll open up your apps list. The digital crown you can turn it to scroll as well, which is super cool. Pushing the button above the digital crown will open up your recent apps list. And as far as navigation goes, if you swipe down from the top, you'll see your quick settings toggles. If you swipe up from the bottom, you'll see your notifications. Swiping left or right from the watch face will show you your tiles. Now, tiles are really similar to what we saw on the Galaxy Watch 5. They're just basically, think about them as almost like full screen apps on the watch that can show you dynamic pieces of information, whether it's your steps, whether it's your heart rate. Maybe you have a tile for turn-by-turn GPS navigation to some of your favorite places. You can customize and edit all of those things, and that really brings me to my next point too, in that there's a distinct difference and separation between the two apps you use to customize things on this watch and also access some of your information. So there is a Google Pixel Watch that you'll have to download to use it to pair, set up, and also do things like customize your watch faces, change your watch faces, customize your tiles, change watch settings, download and install software updates for the watch. All of that is done through the Google Pixel Watch app. Any other type of health-related metric is done strictly in the Fitbit app. So if you want to go and track your steps, if you want to track your average heart rate, if you want to take a look at how you slept the night before, all those types of health metrics are done within the Fitbit app. I have no idea what that's going to mean for something like Google Fit, because I think Google Fit still exists. I remember seeing it around a long time ago. I'm pretty sure it's still there. I don't know what that means for the future of that app and those metrics, but it's not as, hopefully it doesn't come off as confusing in terms of keeping up with information between two applications, because it's really not. I found that in my experience, it works pretty decently well. And you can tell that, they're definitely trying to get you to use both. When you open the Pixel Watch app, there's even a section underneath that'll show when the last time your health metrics were synced with Fitbit. So there's a lot going on here, but I think overall the software experience works. It's worked perfectly fine for me. Naturally, with devices like this too, you typically want to know how long they can last on a single charge, given that they're capable of doing so much, right? Always on display, showing you consistently what time it is, tracking so many different crucial health metrics of yours, ECGs, steps, heart rate during workouts and stuff like that. And obviously other cool things like tracking your sleep. And battery life has really been the thing on the Pixel Watch where I feel like there's definitely room for improvement there. So if you go on Google's website and you take a look at what Google is claiming this watch can last at, Google says up to 24 hours. So let's take myself for example. If I'm waking up at around 7:30 or 7:45, I take the watch off charge, I wear it throughout the course of my workday, I wear it through a workout in the evening, and then I also want to wear it to bed. Chances are, if you're like me and you use the always on display, you're probably very close to killing this watch before you actually get ready for bed. Now for someone like myself, that still kind of works because I don't wear this watch, I don't wear my Apple Watch Ultra to track my sleep. I don't wear any type of device to track my sleep metrics, but I know just how popular a feature like that is for a lot of other people out there. So bear in mind that if you are going to be wearing this watch for very long periods of time, like right at the beginning of your day, all the way up through whenever you're sleeping at night, there's a very real possibility that you might have to charge this watch for a little bit before you actually go to sleep, so it's not totally dead by the time you wake up the next day. As far as how charging works on the watch, it does come with its own proprietary puck charger, and it does actually charge pretty decently quick. That's actually something that I like about this as well, that it charges up pretty quick. I found that whenever the watch was completely dead, you could top it up to full in just a smidge over an hour, which is pretty decent. Where I will say that even the charger has some slight room for improvement, and I'll try to get this on camera so you can see it as well, is that the connection to the watch itself is just, it doesn't feel super strong. Like you can very easily move it with just a light tap of a finger. But that's again, something that I feel like Google can improve later on. Just wanted to give you that type of insight whenever it comes to how well this lasts on a single charge. But that's really it. That's essentially the Google Pixel Watch. I really like this watch a lot. And what I kept thinking of throughout my entire time of using it for the past few weeks was it reminds me so much of the first generation Pixel phone. There's so much exciting potential here, and I'm really happy to see that Google is taking this step and starting to branch out like their own tech ecosystem between now like the Buds Pro, the Pixel 7s and 7 Pros, and now the watch. Like they're taking the right steps in creating their own ecosystem. And for a first generation watch attempt, I think there are a lot of good things about this watch. Now, I will say that it'll be really interesting to see how Google handles certain aspects of this watch or how they improve it for future generations. I'm curious to see if they're going to add any other types of sensors. Like right now you have the consistent heart rate monitoring. It can take your ECG and stuff like that. Curious to see if Google is going to bring in their own types of stuff, or maybe we'll see things that are present on other watches like the Galaxy Watch 5 or the Apple Watch, like a blood oxygen monitoring system or something like that. I love the design. I love that it's integrated with the Google Assistant, but there are definitely, like I said, some things that I think Google can kind of iron out with future generations. For the first couple of days using this watch, I definitely had some connectivity issues with it. Like my Pixel 7 Pro would be right next to it, and the watch was still saying that it's not connected to my phone for some reason. That kind of stuff has like slowly dissipated as I've used the watch more and more. But there are just some smaller nuances that I think Google can iron out with software updates or future releases as well. One other interesting thing that I noticed was I have a dedicated sleeping schedule set for my Pixel 7 Pro, and one of the things that happens whenever that phone, whenever I go to sleep at night, the phone automatically goes into do not disturb mode, it goes into sleep mode and stuff like that. And I made, like my first night using the watch, I made the assumption that the watch was automatically going to go into do not disturb as well. Those types of settings for some reason don't sync up. So you could put your Pixel into do not disturb, but that doesn't sync to your watch. Whereas like other devices like Galaxy Watch 5, Apple Watches, they sync those types of settings with their respective phones that they're paired to. They could definitely make some slight improvements to the magnetic strength of the charger. There's an exciting amount of potential here. And I feel like just like the current Pixel phones, 4 or 5 generations down the line, this is going to be an absolutely fantastic watch. And even now, in its current state, I feel like a lot of people could buy this and still be really happy with the package that it brings to the table. Google makes it really easy for you if you want to buy one. It's only available in one size, 4 different colors. And just like most other watches out there, you have 2 connectivity options. So you have Bluetooth Wi-Fi, that's $349. And then Bluetooth Wi-Fi plus 4G LTE, that is $399. Now at those prices, if you're looking for a more polished product all around, I think you can find one. But bear in mind, even at those prices, they are still undercutting competition like the Apple Watch for the connectivity features that you get at that price. So all in all, I really like it. There are definitely some takeaways here that I'm excited to see Google improve on in the future. And I think it's pretty decently well priced. There's a ton of potential here, and I'm really excited to see what the future of this product line holds. But that's been essentially it. That was the Pixel Watch. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you're already subscribed, you know how I feel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.